Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for tuning in. The theme of this episode is cheating stories with updates. So let's get into it. The title of the first story is Today I found out my 19 male boyfriend has been cheating on me, 18 female, with his mother for our entire relationship. Trigger warning. Essay. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost a year now. We met at my mall food court job and immediately hit it off. After a month of knowing each other, he asked me to be his girlfriend. Of course, I said yes. Our relationship has been pretty great up to this point. He takes me on dates, compliments me, and just makes me feel super special. The only weird thing is he would never let me meet his mom. His parents are divorced and have been for almost his entire life. The divorce was messy and his father ended up getting full custody. They had the typical every other weekend and 6 weeks out of the summer setup. I have met his dad and his paternal family, but he would be weird when I brought up his mom. He would tell me things like, "We have a complicated relationship," or "I'll tell you about it later on." About 3 months into the relationship, I began to realize that he would never answer his mother's calls or texts around me. He would hastily clear it out or step into another room to talk to her, even if it was just texting. I tried to not let it bother me because I wanted to respect his boundaries. Last week, he spent the night with me for the first time. I woke up around 3 a.m. because of a bad dream and I couldn't go back to sleep. I rolled over to grab my phone in the dark, but accidentally picked up his instead. I looked at the messages from his mother. I opened his phone and began to read through them and noticed that they were mostly very sexual. There would be nudes exchanged, hardcore sexting, and messages for them to meet up for sex. I read the conversations in disbelief. I tried to pretend that it wasn't real and I dreamed it. A few days later, I confronted him about it. It didn't take long before he broke down and told me everything. He had been sleeping with his mother since he was 13 years old. They usually have intercourse once a week, sometimes more. They've been doing this throughout our entire relationship. He never told her that he had a girlfriend because he wanted them to still have their weekly sessions. At this point, I don't know what to do. I love him with all of my heart, but I am so disgusted with him and his mother. I haven't talked to him since he told me everything. After he told me, I ran out and drove to a town 2 hours away. I blocked him on every social media and his phone number. I changed the locks to my house. I have also called off for the week from work so that he can't find me. What should I do? Make it work or break up with him? In this situation, obviously, he is a victim. So obvious, and unfortunately, his mother groomed him from a very young age, and that's why he doesn't want it to end, because he's literally trauma bonded to her. And it's sickening to think that this is a thing that happens, and that this has been a story, not a common story, but we've read multiple stories that are similar to this, and it's really sickening to me to even comprehend. Or at least try to comprehend.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
Okay, there's a tiny update here. And it says, "Thank you everyone for your advice and kind words. I've decided that I'm going to talk to his dad and him both. I'll talk to his father first and then him. That way his father can help me figure out what course of action we may need to take. I messaged both of them an hour ago. His father agreed to meet this afternoon. I unblocked my boyfriend and I'm still waiting on a reply from him. I'll update later if I talk to both of them and decide what we should do." I'm like so scared, but there is an update. Obviously, I already told you guys that there's going to be updates, but update. I have no idea where to start with the events that have occurred in the past 11 hours since I last posted. I'm still shaken up and this is hard to process. My boyfriend finally messaged me back a few hours after I asked him to meet up with me. He agreed to meet at his apartment. I made sure that I was going to talk to his dad before him so that he could help me find the correct course of action for my boyfriend. Well, I met with the father. We'll call him X. I was so scared before talking to X that I was shaking. My voice was unsteady and I had tears in my eyes when I walked in. I had no idea where to begin. X looked concerned, so he sat us down across from each other. I told X that I believe his son has been sexually abused for 6 years now. Of course, X was taken aback. I started to tell him about what my boyfriend told me. And that's when X started to be more and more puzzled. He stopped me while telling the story I knew about my boyfriend and his mother. X told me that there's no way this is completely true. When he says this, I start getting confused as well. X tells me that my boyfriend's mother died in a car accident when he was 8. X never remarried or had a girlfriend. At this point, I'm dumbfounded and I have no idea what to say. X tells me that he didn't think my boyfriend's mother was sexually abusive while she was alive, or why my boyfriend would even tell me this. X also tells me that he has no idea who mom might be on his phone. I take a few minutes to calm down and think before I head over to my boyfriend's apartment. The drive was only 10-ish minutes away from my ex's house to my boyfriend. I took this time to process what he had just told me and what I would say to my boyfriend. When I got to the apartment, I promptly went inside. I demanded answers immediately. I asked the truth about his mother, the messages I saw, and if they've really been sleeping together since he was 13. Of course, he apologized again and gave me the same story, but it made me angry. And this is where I lost my cool. I yelled and told him that X told me that his biological mother had been dead for almost 11 years. I told him I knew there was no way the story that he told me was true because his mother passed away when he was 8 years old. My boyfriend became silent and looked down. At this point, I was crying uncontrollably. I felt so bad for what happened, and I wanted to get him therapy. I was willing to forgive him for keeping the secret from me. My boyfriend was silent for a few minutes and then finally spoke to me. He told me he made the whole story up. The contact he had as mom was an ex-girlfriend that he regularly hooked up with. She was 20 and a bartender in our city. He put her name as mom so that I wouldn't get suspicious that he was talking to another woman so often. He didn't think I would find out, so he fabricated the whole story. This way, I wouldn't be mad at him. He told me he figured I would feel sorry for him and stay with him. I felt so betrayed when he confessed this. In the past few days, I went from having a healthy relationship to thinking my boyfriend had been sexually abused by his mother, and then to find out that it was all just a lie because he didn't want me to know that he was sleeping with his ex. He tried to justify it further, telling me it was meaningless and he only loved me. I told my boyfriend that I want nothing to do with him, and he tried to follow me and plead with me, but I ignored him. I drove home, threw out all of everything that he gave me, and blocked him once again. I cannot believe he lied about something so major just to protect himself. I haven't stopped crying since I left his apartment. I'm so hurt, and now I don't know what to do. I no longer want him in my life. I'm considering moving towns just so that he can't find me. He's gotten online and used a fake number to try to get a hold of me to apologize. I need to clear my head and to try to take everything in. I'll turn off my phone and computer for a while so that he can't contact me again. Are you shitting my asshole off right now? That is diabolical. Oh, yeah. That is literally one for the books, like Guinness World Record books or something. Like the craziest excuse you've ever made to cover up that you're cheating on your girlfriend. Because what the actual fuck would ever make you do that? That's especially the fact that his mom is dead makes it even worse because it's like, oh, yeah. So you don't care about what people think about your dead mother. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. I mean, even I would even feel bad about like I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. My brain is so scrambled right now because today these stories that I've been reading, because this is my third episode that I've filmed, these stories have been absolutely heinous. They've been absolutely heinous. I think my brain is deteriorating. Update. So my now ex-boyfriend came to my apartment and started banging on the door, begging to be let in so we could talk. At this point, I have turned all the lights off. I'm being quiet so he will hopefully leave. I know he can see my car out front, so it's obvious that I'm still here. I want to call the cops, but I'm not sure there's much they can do. I'm thinking about going back to live with my parents until this blows over with him. I'm also considering talking to his ex that he was hooking up with. I got her full name and where she works. I will keep updates as I learn more about my ex-boyfriend. Update number 2. I'm having a lot of people send me messages, so thank you for the kind words. I can't reply to everyone's message, so at the bottom of the comments, I added some additional commentary on everyone's suspicions. Please read it to answer any questions if you're still unsure. Please note that there are some personal details I left out in order to keep privacy. Example, how his mother died. There's a reason that he didn't talk about it. Oh, that's really sad. The top comment says, "This is the first Best of Redditor update in a while where I've been left almost speechless for a few minutes after reading it. This guy is unhinged. To cheat is bad enough, but to flip it and pretend that he's the victim of long-term sexual abuse by his own mother, who turns out to both be innocent and dead, is off the bloody charts. Then naming his equally innocent ex as his affair partner is, I just can't. What a vindictive POS. I wonder if he thought the ex would refuse to talk to OOP, or that even if she did it, would push the memory of him and trauma that was bad enough for her to get an RO, restraining order, back into her life. That's some sick game playing. Poor OOP, poor ex, poor dad for finding out that he's raised a monster who would shit all over his mother's memory to cover up his cheating." Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Oh, she did say, "I ended up talking to his ex. We had a long conversation and I learned some other information. She told me she has no idea what I was talking about when I said what he told me. She claims she hasn't talked to him in months because of a restraining order she has against him. He harassed her when she broke up with him back in 2017. She also almost had a child with him, but decided to abort it when they broke up. I cannot disclose why they broke it off. I'm considering a restraining order as well, since the ex says that she's not the one who he was cheating with. I have no idea who it was. I could care less at this point. I can't tell much else since I want to take legal action. I've told what I can to the best of my ability." What the actual? This kid is literally a pathological, compulsive, whatever the term, liar. He's a liar. That's insane. Like, just at that point, you've already done the worst of the worst, and you already said that you're cheating. Why does it matter with who? What is going on? Like, what? Not the lying and then lying and then lying and lying. Like, what the fuck? Okay, the title of the next story is, "I just found out my wife has been cheating on me with multiple partners for the past 2 years. I'm in shock and I really need some advice right now. Me, 40 male, and my wife, 37 female, have been married for 10 years, and we recently celebrated our anniversary. We have 2 wonderful kids together. Since the beginning of the year, things have been off between us. She's been acting strangely since the beginning of the year, irritable, avoiding me, and we haven't been intimate much. Some days she's happy, some others she's fully irritated. Sometimes she's a great mother to our kid, and sometimes she wishes they had never been born. Recently, I had to go to the urologist for a urinary tract infection, and the test suggested that it might be an STD. This was a huge shock because I've never been with anyone other than my wife since we started dating. Right now, she's away at a so-called business seminar, of which I talked about in a different post. She's been keeping diaries for over a decade, and out of desperation, I read them for the first time ever. It turns out she's been having multiple sexual partners for the past 2 years. In particular, there was one affair that lasted over a year, and it seems part of her irritability was due to her lover moving on to someone else. I also discovered that she has a hidden Tinder account too, and she has been meeting with other men regularly. I am devastated beyond words. I feel lost and unsure of what to do, especially since we have 2 little kids who mean the world to me. I need some advice on how to handle this situation. Should I confront her immediately? Should I consult a lawyer first? How do I even begin to process this betrayal and protect my kids through all of this? Lawyer. Immediately go to a lawyer to make sure that, like, you can figure out how to go about the divorce the best as possible, and also gain custody of your kids as well. And then go from there on, like, how you confront the whole situation. Okay, there's an update 1 month later. After my last post, my in-laws kindly offered to look after my kids while my wife was away at her seminar. They remain unaware of the turmoil I've been experiencing. I used this time to go through her diaries and take pictures of their contents. Each entry felt like a stab in the back, leaving me in a state of shock and disbelief. I just don't recognize anymore the person I thought I knew and loved for over a decade. To avoid going into too much detail, the revelations in the diaries would make any movie or TV series I've ever seen pale in comparison. She's been involved with at least 6 different men over the past 2 years. These affairs occurred not only during her so-called seminars, but also during short business trips, dinners, and other supposed work-related events. Meanwhile, I was at home, taking care of the kids and naively believing I was supporting her career. Some entries vividly describes how great these encounters were for her, all while expressing gratitude towards me for being a devoted husband and father, without a single trace of remorse. This lack of guilt and the extent of her deception make me question her emotional and mental state. While reading through the diaries, I felt an overwhelming sense of despair and was seriously contemplating unaliving myself. In the end, I sought refuge with friends for a few days, as I felt that I couldn't be alone. Otherwise, I'd do something that could never be taken back. They really supported me a lot during this time and helped me get in contact with a therapist. I'm now taking regular therapy sessions once per week. They also helped me get in touch with lawyers specializing in divorce. I'm also getting treatment for my STD as well. Returning home after picking up the kids from my in-laws was an emotionally devastating experience. I couldn't bring myself to smile at all. At some point, while contemplating all the possible ways I could end my life, my daughter just looked at me and saw my face. Without saying a word, she just came over and wrapped her arms around me. At that moment, I broke down, held her tightly, and burst into tears in front of her. She's my sweet angel, and the shame of having considered leaving my kids to suffer under their mother's disdain was almost too much to bear. For the first few weeks after moving out, I could barely sleep at all and had to depend on sleeping pills just to get through the nights. My motivation was at an all-time low, affecting both my home life and my work. I forced myself to continue exercising and found out it was the only thing that actually made me feel better during this time. To whoever said in the previous post that I shouldn't give up on doing exercise, thank you. You may have just saved my life. The stress intensified after my wife returned from her trip. Initially, it took all my energy to hide my disgust at her and the knowledge I had gained about her actions. I've somewhat got used to this now, but it remains emotionally draining. She did notice that something was off, but still appears to believe that I am entirely unaware of what has transpired. Her lack of shame is staggering. Just recently, she asked me to buy her the expensive gift I promised her for our 10-year anniversary, for which I made an excuse to not buy yet, despite her going into another business trip just the day after our anniversary, which was described in extremely painful detail in her diaries. To make matters worse, she was even arranging to meet her latest partner on the day of my birthday. Nowadays, I've started to feel a lot better, thanks to exercise and therapy. I had never been to a therapist before in my life, and to be honest, I'm regretting not having done it sooner. Despite my wife betraying me in the worst way possible, part of me still thought that maybe all of this was my fault. Maybe if I had done this, if I had put more effort into that, I blamed myself for a lot of things. My therapist helped me see through it. That while I could have done some things differently, in the end, I cannot be held responsible for the actions that she chose to take, and no one deserves to be betrayed in the way that I was. If I'm at fault for anything, it's for blaming myself for everything, always putting her needs ahead of my own, and trusting her unconditionally without question. While it was extremely hard for me to balance work and looking after the kids alone every time she went on any of these trips, I always let her go after convincing myself that I was doing it for her, to support her business, to let her relieve stress from being at home. That this is what a supportive husband would do, and that if I maybe had a better job or made her happier, she wouldn't feel the need to escape from home. I'd be lying if I said I'm not depressed anymore, but I'm certainly doing much better these days. Nowadays, I feel more rage than sadness, and it's the rage that's keeping me going. My therapist advised me to channel this rage into the things that I do, which has worked surprisingly well. I talked with 2 law firms about my situation and was advised to collect more evidence, which I've been devoting myself to do for the past few weeks. 1, I've finished digitizing all of her diaries from the past 2 years, which were quite a lot. 2, I got access to her computer and found just way too many photos, chat conversations, and documents to help my case. 3, she's been posting all of her adventures into a very distorted private group in Facebook, to which I've also taken plenty of screenshots of. 4, I've compiled a list of all of her sexual partners in the diaries and have been identifying them one by one on social media, etc. And 5, I've gathered everything I could on her current sexual partners and managed to figure out where they live and or work. Now I'm debating whether I should confront them or not. The things I've read in these diaries are so bizarre that I thought maybe she was just writing material for some sort of twisted novel. That is, until I found all the other stuff in her computer. Maybe I'm broken myself as well. But a part of me is actually enjoying this process of gathering all these tiny pieces of evidence and information, cross referencing them with her diaries, and finding everything I can about her and her lovers. Part of me wants to see her burn on social media by posting directly everything I found out, since a big part of her business is centered around social media, but I'm refraining myself from doing this because this would also affect both me and the kids, as well as her parents, who have been nothing but kind to me since we got married. I'm also not sure if I should bring this to light to her parents as well, since this will probably devastate them. I'm planning on confronting her after talking further with the lawyers about how to make sure to gain custody of my kids. The country I live in has a rather unfair tendency of granting custody to the mother, even if she's unfit for it. Setting the terms of the divorce and child support is another thing that I've been discussing with my lawyers. In any case, thank you all for the advice. A few weeks ago, I was in full despair and had no idea what to do nor how to approach the situation. Nowadays, I feel little by little I'm digging myself out of this hole. Sorry if I don't respond to all of your comments. My full attention is devoted to protecting my kids. Commenter 1 said, and this is like included in the repost. Commenter 1 says, well, let's hope you talk to your lawyer again soon. I'm not sure why you need more evidence, but you have plenty now. Have her served in public. Heck, even at a seminar she is supposedly at. Commenter 2 said, don't confront. Don't let her know a damn thing until you have all of your ducks in a row. Don't post anything on social media. Don't confront any of her lovers. Just keep doing what you're doing. Let her find out what she's served. And then commenter 3 said, what an absolute piece of shit your wife is. Document and keep gathering information to do everything you can to get full custody of your children. Do it for them. They'll grow up and come to understand that their mother is a mentally ill whore that destroyed your family. Keep going to therapy and see a psychiatrist and get on medication if they deem it needed. You need to keep your nerve in a level head as you go through this. Meanwhile, look up Gray Rock and 180. I don't think that they'll grow up to understand their mother is a mentally ill whore, because I hope that you wouldn't ever tell them that, or anything that she has been doing for that matter, because that is just not any of the kids' business. They should not. I mean, I do think that you should be getting custody of your children, but I don't think that there should be any information being told to these children, because, like, no, that you don't need to instill that trauma into their kids of knowing that. And maybe sometime and some point in their life, they'll figure it out on their own, but there's definitely no reason for you to ever mention anything. When I was growing up, like, my parents did not tell me why they were getting divorced. They blamed it on some random excuse that, like, my mom said that it was because I obviously knew this. My dad drank beer. My dad drinks a lot of beer. She didn't say he was an alcoholic, but she was just like, oh, it's just because, like, he drinks beer and I don't really like beer. So I just don't think, because they got divorced when I was 4 years old. So obviously my parents aren't going to be like, oh, yeah, I cheated on him. He cheated on me. He had an affair with the neighbor. Yeah. Obviously, they're not going to say that to me as a 4-year-old child. And then I would figure it out. And I only recently started remembering things from when I was a child that definitely brought me back to why they got divorced in the first place. And then my mom did recently tell me, like, a year ago, a bunch of stuff that happened. But other than that, like, I did not know the main reason why they got divorced, which is infidelity on both ends. No one was innocent in this situation. And there's definitely two sides to the story. Like, one, my dad will tell it one way, my mom will tell it another way. But at the end of the day, like, I'm an adult and I know that, like, infidelity is infidelity. It doesn't really matter who started it and who ended it. You know what I mean? Like, also, my dad is literally married to the neighbor lady now. I mean, she's my stepmom and I love her. So obviously she's not, like, the neighbor lady anymore. But yeah, that was, like, this whole scandal that I had no idea about. And that's just, I'm old enough to come to my own conclusions about that. And I just don't think that it's any of the the kids do not need to know any information other than mommy and daddy are not together anymore. And we still love you. And that's all that matters. And we're gonna be here for you no matter what. And I mean, I don't think that like cheating is a reason for you to just like lose complete custody of your kids. Do I think the dad is definitely more mentally, I mean, it sounds like almost like the mom might have like a sex addiction, to be honest with you, cuz I don't know who is like sleeping around and then writing in their diary about it and all that stuff. And usually I feel like in a lot of cases, if you have a sex addiction, you kind of don't really seem to like be remorseful about it. That's how I interpret it, but I've never actually dealt with anyone with a sex addiction. I've only ever seen it on TV, so I don't know. I'm about to log off and never speak again because this filming day today was actually insane and my throat needs a break. Like my throat feels like I'm literally going to like chocolate. What are they selling? That's how I feel right now. I feel like that shrinkled up, shrinkled up little grandma in the freaking SpongeBob wheelchair thing when she's literally, that's me. That's how I feel right now. So yeah, I gotta go. GTG TTYL ILYSM. Bye. See ya. Love you so much.
My merch is out. Yeah, but this is it. And this comes in pink, black, and white. If you want to get a little cute piece of merch, go grab one. Link is in the description to purchase.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.